Paul, then let's walk through yesterday. Just sum it up from your perspective. How mad, intense was it as the time ticked towards the deadline?
Yeah, it fizzled out for us, which is what we wanted, didn't it? So yeah, lots of bits going off behind the scenes, and you're always wary. Do you know what I mean? We're always wary of things that may happen, could happen. But me personally, yeah, delighted how things have panned out.
Across the course of the day, did Club Bruges make any further offers to the ones that we've previously discussed? So there've been two, haven't there? Were there any more?
Yeah, no, if we're talking specifically about Sander, there were no further offers. There were lots of conversations. Not just Bruges, some real good Premier League clubs were discussing Sander and his name, and but no one could get to the number, you know. So we're pleased. I think it's a reflection, and from my point of view, when big clubs are discussing Sander, and that's no disrespect to Bruges. I mean, big clubs in the Premier League, for me, that's where he should be wanting to play after us, and in terms of Europe and a top team like that, is my personal opinion, because I think he can always go elsewhere afterwards. So when that was getting talked about, I'm obviously pleased for Sander that he's getting that sort of recognition, because for me that's his next step, or should aim to be his next step.
And how significant was that other interest then? Did it materialise in anything other than
it was there,
interest?
Discussion, so you can imagine what deadline day looks like. Sander's representatives here, agents on the phone to us at the club, trying to make things happen, lots of discussions, and everyone's phones read out, yeah, but it never got to the point where anyone thought they could get that number, or but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes at their clubs as well. But from our point of view, significant interest, but nothing to make us do anything. And I think, like I said, that the clubs who we're speaking to, it's a great reflection on Sander. But fortunately for me and us and the club, is still here. We've got a squad together, and we can continue on.
So, if I've read this right, so correct me if I'm wrong, the only thing that could change the scenario now is if a club not within the confines of the English transfer window came in and offered the release clause.
Isn't there? Yeah, that could happen. But look,
I suppose the supplementary part of that is of Bruges just been put off really now.
Yeah, they're you know, if they know what it takes, and if they can't do it, they can't do it. You know, and Sander understands that. Sander's got his head around it. And from our point of view now as well, we can't do the business to get any sort of numbers in to replace that. So from our point of view now, my point of view as I sit here, it's been a good window. We had things organised just in case. Nothing happened, and we've kept hold of Sander, which is great. And credit to us, Sander's happy. The board have done fantastic, Prince Abdullah, and you know, fending off that sort of interest, and now we sit here in a decent position.
I was going to mention Sander. I mean, you mentioned there he's happy, but just to follow up on that, how keen has he been throughout this window to maybe go elsewhere, and within the discussions that you've had?
Yeah, well, without talking too much, because when I speak to Sander, it should stay me and Sander, but I think I can't praise him enough in terms of how he's behaved, how he's performed, and I think his performances on the pitch reflect how committed he is to us, how professional he is. Listen, I wouldn't expect any difference. I think we're good with the players and try and treat them right, and you always expect it back, but it can be difficult because you can be talking about significant sums of money or professional challenges, you know, anything which players are, anyone driven with ambition is gonna want. So, but one thing Sander's been is so respectful to everyone at Sheffield United and the fans, and particularly his teammates, in terms of how he's trained, how he's performed. And I've said it before, that's a massive reflection on him as a person, not just a footballer. People are attracted to him, and you know, we're talking about him because of him on the pitch. But his best attribute's what he is as a bloke, and that's credit to him.
How pleasing is it then, barring anything untoward in the next 5 or 6 days before deadlines pass, you can forget about this until January?
Yeah, that's it. Listen, a big 30. So for me, Champions League day today. I think Sander, Club Brugge, Champions League's the appeal. Yeah, that disappears today. So that's it. But like I said, from our point of view and as a club, we can't do anything. So our deadline for anything happening was last night, obviously, and that's passed. So we can't better ourselves. So anything happening with Sander now will significantly weaken us. We know that. So we want to avoid it.
To what extent was a deal in place for Kone then, and how far down the track did that get?
Yeah, it was doable. He's someone who fits the profile. So like I say, and stress this, anyone we spoke to, we're not seen as replacements for Sander. We're not going to replace Champions League players for a couple of £1 million. So it was a case of identifying players with potential, players with the attributes we think can go to another level and we can improve. And Ishmael fit that profile, that's it. And I can speak, that's all I want to say about it, but I can say that much simply because we were up front with MLS and Montreal and everything was above board. So, but apart from that, it was pointless speaking anymore.
Sure. Is he someone that kind of stays in the mind for the next window, though?
Yeah, it'd have to be, yeah.
The other name that kind of did the rounds yesterday, or well, in the lead up to deadline day, was Egan, and speculation of some kind of interest from Leeds United. Was there ever any truth to that?
No.
Did anything happen, I suppose, as I fish here, with regard to any other players that Sheffield United have just said no, they're not for sale in this window?
No, not yesterday, but yeah. There has been. Yeah, there has been all the way through. Yeah, certainly again. Whether they got to the bid stage or not, or just discussions where you know it could happen if we'd have wanted it to happen. Yeah, there were lots of that through the window. But I didn't want anything to happen. I understand the business of football, though, to know that every player's got a price. I get that, but I think the pleasing thing for me, like I say, is we spoke together with the board, myself, Steve, the board, and there's been clear from last season, real clear direction in right. This is what we want to do, and everyone's tried to do it.
It says quite a bit, doesn't it? You mentioned the hierarchy, that football club hierarchies are often blamed, aren't they, for selling at the drop of a hat. Well, here Sheffield United have provided evidence that, on this case at least, that they're not prepared to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's a good statement. Listen, we weren't, I know for a fact, we weren't the only ones in this league looking to be at the top end who turned down bids for good players to show ambition. You know, I know we weren't. So that's pleasing for me, you know, because if we are then selling and the others are keeping, we're giving them a massive advantage. So from a performance point of view, from our point of view, from myself, staff and the players, yeah, we're delighted, and it's credit to everyone for standing strong. But like I said, there's another part of it, the financials, whatever the club needs, that's a different matter. But the fact that we've kept our players, we did as business early, which I think benefited us, and then there's been no, listen, we all know it could have been out of our hands, we know that, so that's a bit of luck. But the bits we have been able to control, people have done well in terms of giving us a good chance to keep playing well.
Is the next then, just as I wrap off on this type of thing, order of business then getting Njai tied down to a new contract? I know we've sort of mentioned it briefly, but is that the principal kind of off-field thing now? Yeah,
and there's a few younger ones that's important. There's a lot of older players as well. But again, I can give my opinion on things like that, but then I know from the club's point of view, younger players, assets, anyone who's had interest shown in them in terms of bids, potential bids, conversations, they're the ones that every club wants to tie down because they're your assets, you know. So, yeah, that needs to be brought to the front and focused on now.
Injuries or any kind of injury update following on from the match the other day? Is everybody okay beyond that game?
George is not trained because of his. He had a spasm in his back. Got a bang. or twist, whatever it was, on the game the other night, and we didn't bring him off because of that. It was because of the minutes, and it was an opportunity to bring him off the pitch. But yeah, he's reacted and gone tight. But I'm hoping he'll be fine tomorrow.
Is everybody else that isn't obviously injured okay?
Yeah.
So Hull City then as a challenge. What's your reading of them? I mean, crikey, they've made a lot of changes up there.
Yeah, so who knows? I don't know what team's going to be put out in front of us. We can have a good guess, but certainly there'll be some new players involved, whether that's one or two in the start, certainly in the squad. But I wouldn't have thought they'll veer too much from what's been working well for them. They've
got an excellent home record, haven't they? That's where they appear to be strongest.
Good home record. I think the owner came out this week speaking about they want it to be the first time they've got 20,000 there since the Premier League days, that type of thing. They've changed the arrangement of the stadium and moving away fans out from behind the goal to try and generate a better atmosphere. And so we're hoping, we're hoping we get that atmosphere. We've been, as away days so far, we've been at real, hostile's not the right word, but real, it's been fervent, it's been frenzied. The fans of the home support have tried to get behind the team for them to raise the game against us, and there've been good atmospheres each of the three so far, so it looks like this is going to be another one.
Sheffield United have done pretty well away from home at the start of this season, haven't they? What do you put that down to?
Yeah, we've been all right. We want the wins, of course. Like I said, we're bothered about the performances. We've had some tough games home and away, whether that's the approach of the other team making it tough, the standings in the league. But we're prepared. We think that's going to be the story of this season, so I don't think it's going to be a one-off. We just want to be strong. We want his performance levels to be at a certain level to make us perform consistently. Because I think that's going to be the biggest key this season in this league. The margins are so fine. You're looking at the results every week, and they're up and down. If we can stay at consistently, or more often than not, getting those points in each and every game, it's going to give us a great chance. And to do that, we need to try and be consistent with how we perform, and that's us focus all the time.